Bring it. All right, we're live. It's live. We're live. This is crazy. Oh my God, hold your breath. Oh, Guilty Angel, what's up? Hey, Guilty Angel, can you send me, do you live in the U.S.? And if you do, will you send me your address and I'll send you something? What's going on? What's going on? Young's here. What's up, Young? Good to see you. It's been a minute. I saw you being kind to somebody who was asking about something the other day. And I was thinking about you, not, just a few moments ago, actually. So very nice to see you guys. Angela's on her phone. I should probably just, you know what I mean? What's the matter? Delicate's angry. She's not angry at us. Well, she's angry at you, Angela, because you're just texting. I have to go to a solo.
I'm texting Delicate.
Oh. What's up, Danielle? What's going on?
Just a second.
You can't just a second. We're live. We'll just wait 1 minute while we're live.
You go live, and I'm not ready. You can decide.
Perfect. Send me your address, and I'll sort it out. Miss Guilty Angel. So let me scoot over. What's up, TikTok? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Angela, who's texting Delicate? What's up, Delicate, who's somehow texting us while you're texting Delicate? What's going on, Mandy? Yeah, Mandy's here. I was glad to see Mandy because I know she's making a huge sacrifice to do it. So it's extra special that she goes out of her way.
Jenna said, and I hope Scott Bloom.
Yeah, he'll be here. You know that. Yeah, Cosmic's here.
Oh, Young's with us on TikTok.
What's that?
Fun. Young is with us.
Yeah.
How's your tea? What kind of tea are we having today?
This tea today is peppermint tea. One of my favorite things to do is have a peppermint tea. It's just so soothing.
I think that your thumbnail may be a bit misleading.
My thumbnail is misleading. I have to redo them. Hey, listen, you don't understand the work.
We're not even talking about P. Diddy.
You just did.
Ta-da! Fixed.
There's not a lot going on in the Karen retrial except for it's going to the jury, and that's really amazing. And not only is it going to the jury, but the judge is trying to get it to the jury tomorrow, and get them deliberating and asking them to.
Okay, so that means that they're going to conclude their final
tomorrow morning.
Their final, what is it called? Final statements? No, final arguments. What is it?
Closing.
Closing arguments.
So the jury's been told that the defense is rested.
I'm new here. This is my first day.
A closing argument, Angela, is...
I thought sometimes they take a really long time, right?
Sorry, pardon me. Sometimes they take a long time, yeah.
So I'm surprised that they're trying to get it all done.
Maybe they think it won't take a long time. Maybe they think it's like, yeah, Alyssa's here, man. We got the crowd.
Oh, Mandy said that peppermint tea is good for gas if you have just had a C-section.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, not recently, but...
She's a midwife, so she knows all the tricks.
No, I've never had a C-section. I've looked into it, and I just don't think it's for me. I think I might, maybe do a little something on the nose, but that's it.
You gonna have a nose job?
Might get a nose job.
If Dale wins the lottery, he wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs.
When 2 Real blows up.
You get one of those Dr. Seuss noses.
When 2 Real blows up, I'm just gonna get it just perfect. It'd be the most perfect noise, and it'll totally ruin my face.
It would.
Just ruin my face.
Mm-hmm.
My face is meant to have this honker on there. You know what I mean?
If you keep touching it, it's gonna get all red. Did you say
people
honker?
People will be like, honker. I call it a honker. Yeah, I think somebody else has referred to it as.
Does it go like huh, or does it go?
It kind of goes both. It starts with the latter and ends with the former. No, it starts with the former.
Manny says Dale Loo-hoo.
Dale Loo-hoo.
Cosmic Urgency sounds a bit concerned with this question, asking Guilty Angel gets a free book.
I'm not commenting on what. No, what? Hey, what? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're going through a process. I'm going through a process. just a little process. You know what I mean?
You can't bring cupcakes to class, Dale, unless you have enough cupcakes for every student.
I'm working through everything. I'm working through all the situations. I'm building a whole, future.
Delicate is mentioning this Senator Padilla situation.
Yeah.
Did you see?
No, what happened?
Oh, they arrested a senator.
Which one?
Senator Padilla.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he went and spoke at Kristi Noem, I guess, who's like trying to be the border czar. She had like a town hall type thing, and he spoke up and he was like, "This is shitty," and then they like tackled him to the ground. They were trying to remove him, and he was like,
I know Senator Padilla.
He was like, "Don't touch me," and then they of course escalated because that's what fucking cops do. So you can even be a senator of the United States and get roughed up by these people.
Oh my God.
But I hate that.
That's crazy.
I know.
There's a still picture of it, and it just well, guys, we're just.
I think that the reason why they act like this is because they believe that it'll have a chilling effect on people and their efforts to
working
protest. But I'm hoping that Americans, with all of our American vigor, are going to see that as a fucking challenge,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that it should be like that we should all be intimidated, and instead we should be like, rallied to do more of that. Because this is the thing that I mentioned the other day when they were making a big deal of these protests, which is like 4 square blocks in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Like really
as opposed
small.
to January 6th.
Yeah.
We're literally
super big
literally a person was shot to the end of their life, but yeah.
Well, what I was saying is that the police have a really easy time controlling one protest, even if it's like 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
they have a much easier time controlling one protest.
Yeah.
But they cannot
control multiple.
Do anything to control.
Don't endorse anything.
10 protests.
Or they're going to come and get
of
me.
1,000 people.
Cosmic Urgency just made it funny. He said, well, he was walking up there.
That's true. He was walking up there. But he was like dressed like a senator too. It's like, what did they think he was going to do? He's like a big doughy senator. Like a middle-aged dude in his senator clothes.
It's still crazy. That's not enough to provoke what seems to be happening. It doesn't seem like what you're saying is
of course not.
enough to provoke. Like we're the civility is slipping from our grip.
Yeah.
And people are maybe becoming more and more conditioned by the lack of civility, the lack of due process, the lack of all these things. But hey, listen, guys, I got some gossip and shit. Here's the thing about talking about politics. It's absolutely horrible to talk about. And I know that sometimes it has to leak into our lives but this is kind of the place to escape from it in a lot of ways. I mean, there's going to be unavoidable moments, but I always got to check myself because I don't want to like slip down the political, and also, I'm a Canadian and people like me are now a potential target.
It's for the best because I have no interest in talking about civility either. And that's probably not good.
There's other ways that I think I could be helpful than in ways that honestly, I think it would make me physically ill. Like if I spoke about it every day or something, like if I made my life as some kind of eye in the sky, idea.
It is true. You get more emotionally invested than a lot of people that I know. I think you're very empathic. Like you're a real empath. Like more than I think I've seen in people who even say that they are.
Do you know what I think it is?
I watch how affected you get by other people being harmed or hurt or just uncomfortable.
I think I spend a lot of my time imagining what people are going through.
Yeah, right.
Like I go in there. Like I don't just go, oh, I try to experience it viscerally. Like one of the scariest things about being a creative writer, especially one of the craziest things about it is the dark places that you have to actually go to and really try to surrender yourself in them in order to try to come out with it something that's like remotely true.
That's a really great segue to something I wanted to bring up with you.
Yeah.
So I was talking with this guy on Twitter who I thought was very stupid. He was making the argument.
No.
He was making the argument that AI is useful for people who want to write books but who have not been formally educated. That he said that that it's like elitist to assume everybody can write books because a lot of people haven't had access to education. And I'm just dumbfounded that this is something. First of all, this guy obviously feels insecure, and he thinks that there should be some other reason other than his own insecurity for why he can't, and that he didn't have access to like some sort of formal education means that he can't write a book, and so he should rely on
or that
AI
you need a formal education to write a book. If all you need to know is be proficient. Only thing you need to be is grade 5 proficient in your language. Most books are a grade 5 or slightly higher than a grade 5 level. So the education you need to write a book is grade 5.
Editing software that people use actually will rate your book as a higher rating if it has a grade 5 reading comprehension
because
level.
Readability matters, And also, I personally don't always enjoy. There are writers that pull it off. Nabokov comes to mind immediately, but just dense writing, Irving, John Irving. He's brilliant at it, brilliant at it. Like you can pick up his books. You can like his books are this like a book of the same size. I'm almost sure weighs heavier if it's a John Irving book. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just so dense. His work is so dense, but and he gets so many words per page compared to anybody else probably, or compared to most, we'll say. And he pulls it off, but most of the time that writing breaks me. Most of the time when I'm like writing books, when I'm reading books, if they're like so fucking dense that I need a machete to get through them, or I'm sitting there like long pressing on Kindle because they're just words I've never heard of or variations of words I've never like put contextually in these frames.
I know English is like Vladimir Nabokov's like third language, and he's the best at it.
He's just absolutely beautiful. He also has a way of like, because if you're really good at that writing, which Nabokov really there's one of the best of all time. He was a master, and if you're a master, then there's a way in which you can like put like hard to understand words.
Well, so this is
in context through this perfect expression of that word, and it's nested in this perfect sort of understandable sentence, we'll say.
This is my point with this guy today. It's like I'm obviously not talking to him. I'm talking to anybody else that might be reading it. But my point because he's already lost cause, right? Like he thinks that he can't. And so there you go. Congratulations, you can't. Like you if you argue for your limitations, what is that quote? If you argue for your limitations, congratulations, you get to keep them. Yeah. You're only as limited as you think you are. And so obviously I'm not going to convince this guy. But AI is not going to help him sound like Nabokov either. Like if he thinks he needs to be educated in order to write the kind of book that he wants to write. Yeah. Fucking ChatGPT is not capable of helping you do that. Like you can't just have it generate something with like that inspires people. Right. And I don't know a single person who would like to read a book if they fully know that no human wrote it, right? Yeah. Like, aren't we only interested in reading books because we know it's been crafted by a human being and it can speak to us, human to human?
I think that if you're going to craft a book that's AI, I think it needs to be credited as an AI book, first of all. So I think if that's because it's going to happen. So I think it has to say. I think it should. I think there should be some kind of regulation that publishing requires disclosure on artificial intelligence.
There has to be. And the reason why there isn't is because I think that among your peers, if you want to be an author, you want to be somebody who publishes books and benefits from that, from being called an author, and you're actually using AI to generate it, you're using the author thieving machine, right, in order to generate your book. So correct. It's reasonable to assume that you're gonna be shunned from your peers because you're using the author thieving machine, and authors don't like to be thieved.
Right. Exactly.
So I just can't stand that this is an argument that happens, and that this guy is trying to like wrap it up in some sort of like ableism. Like I'm saying that when I say that everybody is capable of writing a book regardless of their education level or their poverty or whatever, that I'm somehow misleading people, or like that he's right and it's actually like an elitist like privilege to write a book? I don't understand.
It can't be an elitist privilege to write a book because there are too many poor people, in fact, prisoners themselves.
That's right.
Who've written books and written them and they've lasted
for 5,000
millennia.
Years.
Yeah. So the notion, so all of this is somebody who wants to use and be legitimized through its use. He wants to use artificial intelligence to elevate him to something he is simply not. Right? If you like, I wasn't born a writer. I became one. I worked hard. I studied. I wrote. I read. Do you know what I mean? I taught. I did all of these things to be, and I'm not a great writer. I'm not some writer that people should be like, oh, Dale, the big writer. But the writer I am is the writer I became, not the writer I was imbued with at birth, or that somebody, introduced me to through some technology. So, here's I almost feel like a lot of this will be short-lived, but for the people who are just using it as an exploitation. But for those who are out there who are trying to like create some kind of fake life for themselves, because a writer is a life, that was 4 years to write that book. You're not going to mess around with an AI situation for 4 years unless you're creating something of a collaboration between you and this, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to an AI driven piece. And even then, I don't like any of it,
I just think that it's really, it's a bit like cowardly, and also sort of like a really tantalizing in our modern times to identify something that is your own limitation, of your own self-esteem, and your own assessment of your own capabilities, and then like broadly generalize it as if everybody has this problem, and that we need this technology in order to fix this problem that everybody has. Instead of it being like, bro, nobody wants to put their nose to the grindstone for 4 years to write a book. Like, nobody wants to do that.
Right.
That's part of the artistic craftsmanship that actual authors are willing to do to create work that is worthwhile, right?
I just don't think I don't think anyone should be called an author who did not, in fact, author. And I think that you have to, and I don't even think there's a reasonable percentage. Like, for example, if you're an expert in a trial, some of your credentials can include peer-reviewed papers, but they can also include single chapters in books. Like, and in organizations like the WGA, the Writers Guild of America, which most screenwriters, if not all screenwriters that are at least at the level that you would consider like a high-end professional level, they're all members of that. The Writers Guild of America requires the recognition of writers who make significant contributions to works. So that's to say that if I wrote a screenplay, it was entirely original. If Paul Rubens, created a screenplay, it was entirely original, and then he brought another writer in, and with that writer, they rewrote, or recreated, or wrote a new screenplay, or whatever it might be, then according to the WGA, that new writer has certain proprietary rights to that material. Neil Gaiman, there was a really famous case with Neil Gaiman because he had created as almost a handshake deal with, I think it was Marvel, where he would write a book for one of their comics, and in that book he created a new character, and he said, that's fine, just don't do anything without that character, without me. Like, he was like cool with the new character in the book that he created being there for the compensation that he had. But Marvel just went and took that character that he created and just started working with it as if it was their own property, because they felt they had a proprietary right to it because it was under their brand, and he was paid a certain sum for the work, and the work produced this. But Marvel lost. And where all this is going, of course, is that you can't sit and say, I wrote a book, if you didn't write the book. You cannot do that. I don't care if it was your idea. So my idea would be like, for example, if it's like story by Dale Wheatley, written by ChatGPT. Right. And that's the way it should be, because that to me is what I want to know before I'm going to put any kind of money down or any time into, more importantly, a book. Because if a book is written by ChatGPT, I don't want to read it. That's not where I'm interested. I'm not interested in learning or reading something regurgitated by AI at all. I'm interested in reading authors. I want to read
and good luck being a
voices.
becoming a legitimate writer after you've churned out an AI book. Because if people are reading your book and trying to consume your book, and they'll share with each other that this thing is written weird.
People aren't entitled to be artists.
No,
People
that's true.
You're not entitled to be a construction worker.
And it's also, you're not entitled to have the to take the easy mode either. Like people who want to be painters who simply do not have arms figure out a way to contort their bodies,
or they paint with their mouths.
They paint with their mouths.
We have
or
a
their
guy,
feet or whatever. Like you're not entitled to like have easy mode while the rest of us like have to build a craft, perfect a craft.
We have a guy here. We have a guy here who sits outside of Walmart and does paintings with his mouth, and he sells them, and they're pretty good. And you can find about 6 of those a season in Venice Beach, California.
So my point is just that like you're entitled to have like anxiety about whether you're capable. Like you're entitled to be apprehensive and worried. You're entitled to not know your path and not really feel like you can accomplish the big thing. But you're not entitled to like cheat and then say that you are the same as all these others that did the work, Yeah. Like I just feel like artistry is a human birthright. Like we're all capable of creating art in the way that we uniquely can. And if you're gonna
it's an innate ability.
If you're gonna offload that onto some computer, then I just feel like that's a fundamental offense to the human race. I just feel like
I don't know if it's a birthright, but I do believe you're right that if
everybody's
by that
got
you mean
like a little light that wants to shine. And I feel like
and
if you're just
the ability to shine it.
And if you're gonna be like, oh, it's too hard, and so what I'm gonna do is just I'm gonna justify it to myself in all of these like social justice ways and offload it all to AI or whatever, and then I'll be an author too. I'll call myself an author too, and nobody will know the difference. It's like, shame on you. I don't know. We don't have a correct way of shaming these people yet, other than calling it like the author theft machine or the earth destroying machine, because it's both of those things too. It's like you should be ashamed of yourself for using it for those reasons, but I think people are just cheaters. And
that's my position on it. I just want it gone. I understand the potential for AI, at least from whatever limited perspective I can have. I can see good uses for it, for sure. Like I said, we have a vacuum that uses AI and it vacuums our floors.
To do labor?
I really love that.
That's what the robot army of the future is supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be like cleaning your house so that you can write books, so that you can make paintings, so that you can be the artist that human beings are supposed to be.
Now we're getting into something.
It's not supposed to do the art for you. It's supposed to be washing your dishes so that you have more free time to live an abundant, creative life.
Exactly. If you can get AI to wash your dishes, and obviously this is going to be the privileged core, but where this hopefully leads is that we actually gain freedom because of capitalism's greed for itself. As soon as they can have the 24-hour worker, they're going to get it. They're going to take it. So all we need to do is have a reasonable-minded government to make sure that people have
UBI.
But UBI is
UBI.
Yeah, because now you're talking about UI being useful, though. I'm sorry. Now you're talking about AI being useful. It's being useful because it's like, it's freeing up society. It will increase art and culture. It will, if there, many people want to be, would rather do pottery than going in and being a court reporter. Do you know what I mean? Or being a fucking, some kind of laborer. Mm-hmm. So, so AI can offer great opportunities for advancement in so many different ways, consciously and artistically and culturally. But if you're going to use AI to create the culture, your society will be lost it'll be a shell of its former self. It's the same way, like, we were living in this small town, and in the small town, it was all small businesses, and the town started to boom. All these people started to come here with retirement money and started buying up the real estate. Now there's a housing crisis now, and everything's super expensive, and all of the little businesses are getting crumbled. And all I see on the websites about the town and on the subreddit about the town is, we're getting a new big chain something.
Right.
So
like they don't even have a taste for originality anymore.
Yeah.
This is
the but then again, we're getting into the bad stuff. We got to stay away from the bad stuff. You're pulling me in just when I thought George Takei is coming out with a book, or has come out with a book. I'm not sure. He's got a new book and he slams Trump while revealing his emotional coming out journey. But I don't know. For those of you who love him, I'm I'm sort of a peripheral fan. I've never liked.
Who's this?
George Takei.
Okay.
Has written a book.
Oh, good.
I don't know what it's called. Do you want me to tell you what
it's
it's
going to be
called?
wonderful.
He's a wonderful, mannered human being who's, I think, brilliant in so many ways. As just the way in which he's embraced, like so gracefully, this wild fame that kind of came out of nowhere for him. You know what I mean? Like suddenly he became this wild thing, and he just handled it so gracefully. It was like he was very prepared for that.
What, when you got the role?
No, just in his life. Later in life, for some reason, he just became this he had this Betty White thing. He just became this Betty White thing.
That's great.
Do you know what I mean? Some people get it in life, and he got it. He deserved it, right? And yeah.
So he's writing a book?
He's written it.
Oh, is it out?
Yeah, I think it's out. I don't know. I can't see the name of it. Damn it. So. But it's George Takei, so it won't be hard to find. I don't think he's written anything but one so far. We got to get to the comments too.
Yeah, that's what I'm headed to. George Takei book. Let's see.
While you're doing that, I'll talk about Candace Cameron Bure. I didn't realize she was. Oh God, these people. So Candace Cameron Bure banned scary movies from her house because they're a portal to demons.
Scary movies?
Yeah, scary movies are banned because they're a portal to demons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we watch them.
That is the point.
That's the point.
It is a portal to demons.
So she doesn't want to take a portal to demons.
Next thing she's going to say is she doesn't use a Ouija board. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
everybody uses a Ouija
that was like the first telephone.
How are you supposed to conjure the dead? I mean, what is she even? Oh, she has Christmases without the spirits.
Because she only talks to one dead person. That's her problem. Maybe you should try to talk more than one dead person.
Okay, I mean, to each their own. Whatever. I just think it's really. I heard this story earlier. You told me about it, and my first thought was like, oh, they have one of those families where they don't talk about anything negative.
No,
because. If you don't
the torture, the long stares in the mirror in that bathroom, the long, terrible stares in the mirror.
Probably not even any stares. She probably doesn't.
I see stares.
Stares like they don't even look unless they're doing their makeup. So listen, I just feel like if your media literacy is so low, bad or whatever, what's it? How would you describe literacy being not good? Anyway, if her media literacy is so poor that she doesn't recognize that horror movies are just a way for us to talk about the more difficult parts of the human condition.
Yeah.
Like half of the horror movies anybody's ever watched or made are about grief.
I know.
You know,
or like The Exorcist is a religious movie.
Yeah.
Where you know where the devil, the evil spirit is exorcised, obviously, and where with the power of Christ, by the way, like it's just like it's a religious movie. The Exorcist is a religious movie.
Yeah, my whole thing is it's like, so she doesn't like challenging concepts.
Yeah,
she doesn't like to think about concepts.
She doesn't want to hear somebody say
or grief or loss or all of those. Those are what horror movies are about. Fundamentally, that's what every single horror movie that's ever been made is about.
I love that.
And so she's just like, no, not in our house. We don't do that sort of thing. Only positive.
I love that.
It must be a hellscape for the kids, is all I'm saying.
I love that. That it's true that The Exorcist is an absolute religious movie. It is. I mean, literally, the devil, or evil spirit, possesses a child, a priest, but the power of Christ exorcises the demon. But it's just funny that Friedkin and the author, they wrote this movie that is an absolute religious movie, and on it they have this they have a crucifix being stabbed into a crotch with just absolute the most grotesque profanity of all time in a movie. It's just so brilliant because it literally is a religious movie, 100%. In the same way that The Last Temptation of Christ, not The Last Temptation of Christ. What was the one that Mel Gibson had? What was that one called? The Jesus Christ movie that he had. Well, I went and saw it in the theaters. It was such a gore show. It was one of the goriest movies I have ever seen. And it's like one of those gore movies where it's not like paper mache, like Cosmic Urgency got us into enough is never enough of the stuff. And you got the paper mache fucking heads. Like, that's fun gore.
Yeah.
Like, his gore was like oh my God. Ew. Like, it was hooks getting into the meat of a man's back and pulling out chunks of flesh.
It is like a death cult. I don't know what they're so obsessed with. Like,
it's like the craziest shit, bro.
It's just so crazy. Like you aren't going to convince me that horror movies are somehow worse than wearing the crucifix that your savior was murdered on around your neck.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's a little, they have like they put crosses on with a man hanging nailed to it on their wall. They adorn their wall with horror. Macabre. Like,
those are horror props.
Oh my God, dude. Like,
it's just a little weird.
Let that set in, guys.
You guys drink blood at church.
He's hammered to that cross. You know that, right? He's literally hammered to the cross.
We're not the weird ones.
I've been in houses where they have the ones that bleed. Mm-hmm. Oh, you have a bleeding man on your...
Yeah, and the eyes that are like all glassy.
Can't we just think it? Let's just think it. Listen, I'm not dissing a religion, by the way. Like 100%,
Oh, Cosmic Urgency saved you.
Passion of the Christ.
Passion of the Christ.
Thank you, Cosmic Urgency. I can rely on you on so much.
I can't wait for the sequel. It's coming. Any day now.
Any day now. Oh, that's why they're protecting it, right? So there's a bunch of remakes happening. Bill Pullman and Rick Moranis are returning for the new Spaceballs.
Oh, I know, but John Candy cannot.
I don't even know why you make it without him. Who are they going to get? They're going to get, what's his name, right? Keenan from Saturday Night Live. He'd be great, right?
I think that's really fun, though. I'm so glad that Mel Brooks, I just hope everything he ever wants to do gets greenlit from here until the end.
Well, yeah, exactly. He is... he's making an appearance. That's he's returning as yogurt. He's returning as yogurt. How old is he? 90 something, right? 95? That guy's almost 100. Do you remember when the COVID lockdown happened and his son or whatever went and saw him through the window and do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And he was cracking jokes behind the glass.
Max Brooks, I think.
Was it Max Brooks?
I think that's his name.
And Mel?
He seems nice. Okay, would you like to go through some of these comments?
Yes. Let's stay away from controversial religious comments.
I'm excited about Spaceballs, too. I said that I wasn't a fan of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Spaceballs. Is that cheating?
It's kind of cheating.
It's kind of cheating. Okay. Let's see. Hi wants to know on YouTube.
Hi.
Do you have any photos with Leonardo? Sorry for the weird question.
No, I don't. I don't, sadly. In the 90s, broke dudes didn't carry around cameras. It just wasn't a thing. We had no phones. We didn't even have phones, let alone ones with cameras.
That's really funny because you have a story about how you guys had occasionally you guys would have one of those like wind-up phones.
Yeah.
I mean, wind-up cameras.
Yeah.
It's a disposable camera. I don't know if you guys know this because, we're like dinosaurs over here. But there's a disposable camera that has a film in it, and then you wind it.
Everybody knows
this?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you just send
you take it to the phone, oh, Matt.
Yeah. But it doesn't have a display or anything. You can't see any of the pictures you're taking. You're just snapping and shooting and hoping for the best. And so
at my first wedding, we put one at every table.
It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, we got some of the funny ass pictures.
I should get a whole packet of them because I thought they were so fun.
Yeah.
But you were saying that
they're not good low light cameras. Just saying.
You said that one of you guys had one of those with your friends around, and they kept stealing them and taking.
Yeah, dude. We went to the photo store. Me and RD. To pick up, because RD would have them around the house occasionally,
just for all of his friends to use.
Whatever. And we and RD was like, I gotta go pick up my pictures. And I was like, okay, we'll go pick up your pictures. And RD he's flipping through them, and he screamed, and I was like, what? And then he's like, what the fuck is this, bro? Blake Sennett took a poop, and then he took a picture of it and didn't tell anybody.
How did he admit it? Is that how?
Yeah. We found out because RD was like, "Who the fuck took a shit with my camera? Who took a picture of their shit with my camera, bro?" He was all upset. He was like, "Dude, the fucking photo person was looking at me all weird and shit."
Why'd you take a picture of it, bro?
Why'd you take a picture of my poop, bro? What are you doing? And then Blake was like, "Yeah, it was mine, bro. I just wanted to show how healthy it was." That's what he said. I told you, man. They're top shelf funny people, bro. I couldn't fit it in the book.
And so that's why you don't have any pictures of you guys all together, because everybody was tricking each other with the photos.
Yeah, well, and cameras were rare because like it wasn't like we always had a camera sitting around to take pictures of our poop with. It was just occasionally. So there were pictures taken, but it's gonna sound weird, but it's true. Leo, like I was like some kind of like dethroned Egyptian king or something. He tried and he wants so badly to erase me from humanity. It's the weirdest fucking behavior of a person ever, especially against somebody who's literally done nothing to him.
No, it's true. In his deposition, he like tried to get around naming
using
Dale,
my
like
name,
using
yeah,
his name
or RD's. He doesn't
testimony.
want to use. He didn't want to use either of our names. He wanted to erase us, not just from his memory, from memory. Period. Mm-hmm. You know, if he could have, he would have completely erased me from humanity. So that includes, like, getting rid of pictures. Like, I know, because, you know, like, there were a lot of people that we hung out with. I know, for example, that Soleil Moon Frye had loads of pictures of me. I know that Jonah, you know, I can go down a list because those were the people taking the pictures. Kevin Connolly had dozens of pictures of me, at least. Because he was out there he was always, you know, Ethan Suplee.
So there's that tabloid, like, gossip photo that goes around every now and then, and it's Blaine. What's his name? David Blaine. And Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
And they're in bathrobes.
Yeah, and then there's the picture with their one with their penises out,
and there's one where the bathrobes open.
Yeah. Oh. That's a sad thing. I kind of maybe I pushed that too fast because it was
I'm glad you silenced
it. It was an abduction.
We're in our house, man. We're not looking for.
Right. Oh shit! Right past these closed drapes, I saw that SUV.
So what I'm saying is, it sounds a lot like your friends were the type of people to take a picture with their junk out. Like, it sounds like that's exactly what the sort of things
when that picture.
They would do.
Well, yes, that picture to me could have been authentic.
It seems like they're the type.
Well, also, you know, I've seen that thing before.
Yeah,
and that also, one wasn't far from
Toby
what I
pulled it out for a picture on your set. On your movie set.
Quite nonchalantly. I haven't said hello to everyone, and we've been going at it for almost a half an hour. So hello to everyone, especially you guys on TikTok. I haven't said anything to you guys. I think Dr. Susan is with us, and I know Young is here. And oh, look, we've got Rage. Well, I don't know if there's some people are hanging out. Anyway, good to see you all. Yes.
So you know how you said Guilty Angel, you'd like to send a book?
Yeah.
And then Cosmic Urgency was like, how come?
What's up? Yeah.
How come the Guilty Angel gets a book?
I didn't think that through.
I'm reporting Dale over the Guilty Angel incident.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
And then Alyssa said, I think he just wants a free book. And then Guilty Angel said, I can't help it that Dale and Angela like me.
No.
They're fighting.
Well, they're not really fighting, are they?
No. Mandy's like, what in the Karen is going on?
What in the Karen is going on?
Okay, so Guilty Angel wants to know, when are we starting our book club?
Oh, I don't know yet. Soon. I would guess soon. Right now, for some reason, listen, Toni Morrison is obviously amazing writing. I'm struggling to get through Beloved. And you know what it is? It's like...
You just drop it.
It's just so... I'm not going to do that. I'm going to finish it this time. But it's like... Because I dropped it once.
It's just not the right time, though.
I got to finish it. I'm going to finish it. And I'm halfway through it. It's just that... It's just taking me forever because it's so fucking heavy, bro. It's like the heaviest thing ever. You know?
I had to...
It's like heavier than like... What's the heaviest thing? It's heavier than that.
It's heavier than heavy?
Bryan Cranston shares why TV son Eric Sullivan turned down Malcolm in the Middle revival. And did you watch Malcolm in the Middle?
Never.
He was the little kid.
I wish I had, because I like Bryan Cranston a lot now, but I didn't.
Well, you can still see it these days, so maybe we will.
And they're doing a revival. Why?
I've only seen a few episodes of it. I never watched it religiously, but I really liked what I saw, and I would totally be down with watching it. But anyway, they're doing a revival. Why? Because they make money, because people want to see it, because, you know, whatever. Because it's Bryan Cranston and he wants to keep working. But the little kid, Eric Sullivan, he turned down coming back for the revival, and Eric Cranston said he's actually going to Harvard, and he's really, really smart. And he's getting his master's at Harvard right now. And he said, oh God, no, I haven't acted since I was 9 or something. No. I'm not into it.
Good for him.
There was this phase I went through when I was in LA, and just maybe just in life. Like, I guess there's like a level of solipsism that just kind of lives in all of us. Like I was sure everybody would want to be a part of a Hollywood situation. Like, why wouldn't you want to make $45,000 a week for 25 weeks a year? Why wouldn't you want to do that?
What are those numbers?
Everybody, $40,000 a week for 25 weeks a year. Why wouldn't you want to make that kind of money?
Who makes that?
That would have been his money. Eric Per Sullivan.
Oh, to do the show?
Easily would have been more than it. Would have been like probably $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 an episode.
No, Harvard would have given him their blessing too. They would have been.
Harvard would have been like,
"Well, we'll
there's
sort it out.
Millions of dollars at stake. Go get it." And you're doing it while playing make believe. And yes, sometimes it's stressful, and yes, sometimes it's not fun. But most of the time, it was for me, and most of the people It
is a strange choice. I would not make that choice for sure. I'd be like, yeah, I'll take a break from college for a minute.
Well, I love it is the point, because like, and also like my stupid naivete, because like, of course there's a life beyond like the kinds of dreams that I think are so cool and fun and you sort of match my whatever personality and my creative, skill sets, whatever. So I just thought it was really cool that this guy's like so completely centered in who he is and what he wants to be, that he's walking from millions of dollars.
I guess he really hated it.
I'm not into it. Do you know how much I'm not into fucking flipping burgers, buddy, but I worked at McDonald's.
I would get into it real quick.
Fucking in a hurry, bro.
I'd figure it out.
I wasn't into bill collecting, but I did it for like 2 years. It was horrible, but you know what? They paid me far less than that. But you know what? You're at Harvard. You're a brilliant guy.
I have the happenings in the chat that I think you'd really appreciate.
Let's go to the happenings in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. Alyssa asked Mandy, what's your favorite scene in the book?
Okay. Alyssa asked Mandy. Okay, yeah.
And Guilty Angel said, I need to prepare emotionally before I read Dale's book.
Oh, shit.
Alyssa answered, said, I think mine is maybe the AA scene or the Grateful Dead scene. She said, it's so good. It's one of those books you can't put down.
Yeah, it's so neat. That's super cool here.
Mandy said, I love when he first lands and is like a Martian in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Also love when he gets backed up for the producer credit.
Oh, that was a great scene, yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Those are great picks.
Melissa said, oh, those are good. I liked his relationship with Jeremy Sisto. I wish it was mentioned a lot throughout the book, but maybe he was also affected by all this Leo and Toby drama.
Yeah. I thought about that a lot in terms of like, that's an interesting observation, because like I thought a lot about like how, like, because Jeremy kind of falls off in the book, and so did our relationship.
Yeah.
But there were things like we went to Rolling Stones, for example. That's not in there. And like there were some things, but like the book was so fucking long at this point that I had to, it got super, like I said, I had a whole different arc, and then I ended up being able to play out, which was a more detailed arc of my time with Terry on Hollywood and Vine. I had to cut that short just because I just didn't have the space. So it became like a real estate thing, because like that book is expensive to print. It's a very expensive book to print.
Yeah.
My margins are very small.
And it would have gotten more expensive if you left more stuff in. Guilty Angel said that the Free Don's Plum email isn't going through.
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Do you have another?
Well, you can just go to the website.
Do you have a Gmail to offer people?
You can just go to the website and use the contact form.
Oh, okay. And that works?
Yeah, go to the website, use the contact form, and I will get that.
Okay, great.
If any of you want to reach out to me, do that.
I'm worried that's what she's talking about, though.
I'm going to be throwing books out.
You have received emails from those? Like, that it works?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to send some books out, guys, so this isn't just a one-time thing. Eric Dane speaks out on his ALS diagnosis. This hit me hard. He said, I don't think this is the end of my story.
Oh.
It breaks my heart, like, I think about him so much. I don't talk about how much I think about him, but I think about him so much. It is strange to have, to know so many people who have so many difficulties, so much difficulty, or just odd and weird circumstances. Anyway, I'm just thinking a lot about Eric Dane and about ALS, and I hope that one day they find a cure for that fucking nasty disease, because it is a relentless killer. Like, good Lord. And I mean that in a non-religious way.
Alyssa has a question.
Bring it on.
Are you going to do any more documentaries like the New York Post, maybe promoting your book that will make the book blow up?
Maybe. I don't know what. It's weird. I think I'm looking for opportunities. We'll see. I don't know. I think that we're going to try to be the creators rather than like try to find somebody. Problem with like, Leo controls all that stuff. You would, as ridiculous as that sounds. So what I'm focused on is actually creating content. So the lives are just like what we're hoping the lives become is a thing from which we can build shorts for YouTube and little videos for entertainment stuff, bits about the book, hanging out with you guys, super fun. And then we hope that we can create an environment that's fun, enjoyable, inspirational, and educational. Like that's really what we're looking for in the end. At least that's what I'm looking for in this. It's what I look for in everything that I do, whether it's like, it doesn't matter what I do. I'm always looking for those elements to try to be there. Because I feel like that's what I'm always looking for in myself when I'm having a good time. I'm learning, I'm enjoying myself. I'm feeling inspired and excited about what's going on. These are the things I try to put in everything I do, even if it's dark. That's why the latest review that we got, the latest 5-star review we got on Amazon, which is such a gift. And he just talks about that. I forget what his soul crushing, but he called it like inspiring and soul crushing or something. And I like playing in the dichotomy of it all too. Like, we live in a dichotomy, don't we? Like every day, isn't every day just, coming to terms with every opposite of our, yeah. I'm babbling. Where was it?
It is true though. Like you get bad news and good news every single day, and you just have to figure out how to reconcile it all.
I was thinking about this earlier. It was weird. I was thinking about people in the Ukraine, and I was thinking about like a happy day in wartime Ukraine. Like, what is it like? What is a happy day in wartime Ukraine like? Like, or even in Gaza? Like, what is that like? Is there like what is that joy like? This is the part of creativity that I think isn't talked about enough. Is these are the exercises I love to do the most. Is like I'll lose myself in these thoughts, and I'll think about people, and I'll create people just in my head as an imaginary sort of whatever, and they don't have all the depth. They don't have a history. But they've got eyes, and in those eyes, is a burning soul. In the little vision that I can have. And I play them out, and I start thinking about like, how can I contrast a moment? And so today it was just one of my thoughts. These contrasting like moments was like, what is a joyful moment? What is a joyful moment in wartime Ukraine?
We, you and I were talking earlier about the single survivor of that India to London
so this tragedy crash today.
Like
one guy survives.
Like, what is his life like?
Well, and then he said, and when you bring him into sort of this world where you're like filling in the gaps with your imagination, you have this guy who stood up, he said, from this plane crash, and you saw the explosion. It's just unimaginable. Right. And he stood up, and he said he could see all the bodies around him, and just how that will be with him in. And the immediate question was he traveling alone, and then what's that like? And anyway, wild stuff, super crazy. Where are we?
Manny wants to know if we saw the trailer for the new Stephen King movie.
Which one?
The Institute is getting adapted.
No, I never even knew. I didn't even know. That guy just.
I know he never stops winning.
Stop. Let's see if it is Stephen King's. What's it called? The Incident? No.
The Institute.
The Institute movie.
I feel like I could spend the rest of my life reading Stephen King and never get through them all, and I don't know how he wrote them.
Is it a movie or a TV series?
I think The Institute might be a series.
I think it's a series. Is it a movie? I don't know. It looks like it might be a series. 2 days ago, a trailer dropped.
We are excited for the Long Walk movie.
We are.
I've been obsessed with that property for like 20 years, ever since they announced that we were going to do it.
I love it. Oh, speaking of The Long Walk, actually, and Stephen King in general, I was thinking about him today when I came across this headline, which was the director of John Wick is still trying to work out how to, first of all, fuck this asshole who made this headline, because it's just a straight up spoiler. The director of John Wick is still trying to work out how listen to this asshole try to hide his spoiler. I can't help it. I'm dealing with my anger.
Can I hear it?
I'm dealing with my anger.
Let's have it.
The director of John Wick is still trying to work out how to make Keanu Reeves in John Wick 5 make sense given the ending of 4.
Okay, but what's the spoiler?
Angela, let me read it again.
So he dies in the end?
Well, he didn't fucking live, did he? Because he's trying to figure out how to make him work. It's such a spoiler. It's ridiculous. I think I cursed in the comments. I was like, what a fucking spoilers. Dick-ass
you hate
headline.
Allusions to spoilers.
I did. I did. I cursed it out. I probably have downvotes because I got mad. I got mad. I was like, that's a fucking spoiler headline that you don't need to put in there. All you can say is director of John Wick is still trying to work out how to make Keanu Reeves in John Wick 5. That's all they had to say. They didn't have to say, given the ending. Fucking jerk-offs. But listen, here's the thing about it, right?
Were you going to watch it? Come on, let's be honest. Were you even going to watch it?
It's still a fucking spoiler for people who are. There's a whole bunch of people who I am not alone in that reaction of reading that fucking headline. Yeah, I'm cursing like a trucker now. I was calm. I was relaxed. I'm going to get fined. They're going to take me away. They're going to send me back to Canada. They're going to be like, this guy, no good. No good, this guy. Here's where I'm going with this. The director of John Wick is still trying to work out how to make Keanu Reeves. I guess this guy doesn't know who Annie Wilkes is. I guess he doesn't understand. Oh, yeah, Annie Wilkes. He didn't read or watch Misery.
For those of you guys who haven't read Misery, it's a lot better off. It's a lot better in the book, but it's in the movie too. But Annie Wilkes is like his number one fan.
Yeah.
Paul Sheldon's number one fan of his books, and he has to write like some climactic ending to his book, where he kills a character, right? But then in the next book, he revives the character, and because he doesn't revive the character,
he says the character jumped out of the car that she witnessed go over the cliff,
and she is not gonna put up with
she burns his manuscript. Yes. She's
like, you can't lie.
His manuscript.
This is why Misery is ultimately a writing book.
And audiences aren't gonna put up with this shit you're gonna bring back to fucking holograms. What are you doing?
Because you can't trick your audience. You can't just pull off something without suspending disbelief well enough in advance, you know.
By the way, I only know that John Wick fucking dies. Sorry. I only know he dies because of, given the ending of 4 that I didn't see yet.
Okay. Can we move on?
What else you got? You got anything?
Take a deep breath.
Seth Rogen was worried that he wouldn't make a comeback from the controversy around the interview. I thought the interview was a big success.
Oh, it was a huge controversy, though. I think that he was right to be worried about that.
Really?
It was, totally blown out.
I remember the controversy.
I thought it was ridiculous, but it just must have felt like he was just being like carpet bombed in publicity.
I heard it was just a terrible movie.
Okay, but still, like, he was like, okay, this is over for me.
He was like trying.
He also seems like kind of like a nervous, neurotic type, so I'm sure it was like really hard for him to deal with.
He and I need to hook up and
I think so
smoke some weed.
Yeah, I think you guys would be pals.
I think we would. He's a Canadian too,
Mm-hmm.
You know that?
Yeah.
So we'd pinch that nipple. You know what I mean? We'd twist that nipple.
Yeah.
Hey, Canadian guy. What do you mean?
That's what you guys do in Canada. That's how
all the time.
You know, like how the French will like kiss on one cheek, and then like in Brazil they kiss. No wait, I think the French do both cheeks. You guys all have your different customs. So when you go to Canada and you greet people, you just twist their nipple.
Yes, if you go to Canada and you want to make an impression on someone, you should turn their nipple, just a half turn. You don't want to hurt them. You just want it's supposed to it's stimulating. It's like, good to meet you. Very good to meet you.
People can't see.
You kind of stick it out when you're inviting in. You just go like in Canada when we like you, when we like you, we just kind of lift it up a little, and then you just go like, "Hey, good to meet you, buddy. How you doing? I'm doing all right. Good to meet you."
It's like bowing in Japan. It's just like second nature. You just sort of like.
Yeah, it's like bowing in Japan, but in Canada they just twist your nipple.
It's such a pleasant custom.
It's like rubbing noses.
Stefan wants to know, what was your experience like making a religious movie? He wants to check it out.
So it was interesting. It was interesting because I ended up getting caught up in it. I did it as a favor because the person that I did it for was supposed to be making my movie, and they were raising the money, and then it was a false start, and it turned out to be a nightmare for me. But I what I said as a favor is I was like, let me develop one of your writers or something, because he's like a local guy trying to cultivate. He'd never made a movie before, but he was like, he kind of walked around pretending he was a big shot. And I was like, well, maybe I can help you become one, because like if you've got money or access to money and we can make movies together, I actually can do that. I can make a movie. I know how to do it. And so he was going to finance my movie, and he was actually writing checks, if you recall, like to develop it. I was like, okay, well, this guy's writing checks, option, for the option. All right, we're in business. I said, listen, and I was very moved by it, and I was like, I want to help you out. So if you have writers working on something, I'm a great developer. I can develop writers. I'm very good at it. It's one of my sort of better skills, if you will, or whatever. And so he brought me this religious movie, and I was like, well, if the guy's cool with me not being a religious person, I'll work with him on it. So then he said, yeah, let's do it. And I spent 18 months, and what was really super cool about it, and why I'm really excited about the educational component that I'm going to have for this channel, is that I took this guy who had never written a screenplay in his life, who was a marketer at a local whatever, and he's a talented guy. I'm not going to discount that he had talent. I mean, part of my job is to recognize talent. But it took him from never having any experience whatsoever to writing, directing, and starring in his own movie that we made for $1 million, and that became the best picture of the year according to the people who watch these fucking movies.
Oh yeah, like at that film festival.
Yeah, it won a film festival. It won a Christian film festival. I am at conflict with that on my credit. It was supposed to be a means to an end, and so I certainly hate that it's my most recent credit.
Yeah, like you don't identify with that project because
I don't identify the project, but I am proud of the outcome.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a relatively low budget, right? It was.
We had 20 days and $1 million, and we shot in 2 countries.
Yeah, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
You should be really proud of that.
Yeah, and I solo produced it.
It's just a shame that
I didn't solo, but
it's just a shame that it's in a genre that's like kind of divisive, and that you wouldn't necessarily want to continue to work in.
Titty twisters are legal in Canada, said Guilty Angel. Yeah, it's not SA in Canada. You're totally allowed to do that. What happens if you twist too hard? Well, that becomes an offense. That's when they can call the authorities. And then they come in on a horse.
Mounties.
Mounties, in those hats.
Is it a horse or a moose?
So the whole piercing of the nipples started in Canada as a form of punishment for twisting too hard.
Oh.
And then it got fashionable.
Because Canada is often the trendsetter.
Yeah, Canada, especially when it comes to piercings. Canada is the leader in piercings, I believe.
It's your greatest cultural export.
It's an export,
that
absolutely.
And maple syrup.
And maple syrup. And hemp seeds.
And
like
Pamela Anderson.
Hemp, yeah, well, yes. But,
Hi is asking, if Leo would have done Boogie Nights, do you think he would have done it better? To be honest, I just don't know if he would have pulled it off.
I think he would have been infinitely better.
Really?
I think he would have been way better. I think he would have been, like, first of all, remember that that Dirk Diggler was inspired by John Holmes. And John Holmes, I don't think that Mark Wahlberg had any resemblance to John Holmes.
Well, did that matter? Resemblance?
Well, for me, he would have, Leo would have embodied that era, that character, I think, way better. I think he would have blown Mark Wahlberg out of the water on that. I don't think it would have even been close. I think P.T. Anderson proved his immense skill getting the performance he got out of Mark Wahlberg for that movie. And I do believe that he pulled a miracle out on that rather than picking the best guy for the job. My opinion. I am not a Mark Wahlberg fan at all. I don't like that guy at all. So he's a garbage human being to me. But so I have that bias.
I just don't think that. I think that Leo was too lanky, and I think that a lot of the dynamics that go on with with Dirk Diggler and the other characters
Yeah.
all have to do with him being like masculine and buff and like manly and attractive.
Yeah.
I don't think that it would have worked if gangly Leonardo was trying, like, it wouldn't have sold at all. That
I think he would have sold
like,
it easily.
You know,
first of all,
Philip Seymour Hoffman's character is like swooning over him, you know, and so is Julianne Moore. Like it just would. I don't think it would have worked unless he was like.
I mean, he was way better looking than Mark Wahlberg.
But he was definitely not buff, and he wasn't gonna be buff. So I think it needed to be somebody who's like, who is tan and beautiful.
I would have taken DiCaprio over Mark Wahlberg in a minute as a producer. I wouldn't have even thought about it. It wouldn't have even been a thought. And I also think purely subjectively that he would have been a much better Dirk Diggler than Mark Wahlberg ever could have been. Could there have been a better than both of them? Sure.
I just mean just in the body type. I just think that there's so much more that goes on in that movie between Dirk Diggler and the other characters that I think that his physicality really.
But Dirk Diggler had a certain
sold.
Vulnerability that I think Leo would have nailed.
I mean, it could have been somebody else entirely too. Like I'm not a fan of Mark Wahlberg either, but I don't think that Leo would have been the right body type for it.
Also, Leo's well endowed.
Yeah, is that true?
He's extremely well endowed.
Yeah, but it would have been a prosthetic anyway.
It would have been a prosthetic, but he still has, Big Richard energy.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he does.
Yes,
not.
he does. Yes, well, he did. He fucking did. Don't tell me he didn't. He did. I'll tell you. Don't tell me. I'll tell you.
Cosmic Urgency wants to know, have you seen 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams?
I did see it. Yeah, it was a long time ago, but I did
love
see
that
it.
one.
Yeah. Isn't that with Colin? No. It's Robin Williams and, oh man, he's so crazy in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
That was great.
Yeah.
I kind of love everything he's ever been in.
There was another one. Oh, that was the phone booth one with Colin. The Irish dude. Colin. I don't want to say Colin Firth because it's not Colin Firth. Colin. Colin.
Cosmic Urgency said, I hate being on camera and it's annoying the F out of me that everyone acts like everyone is down to be on camera.
Yeah, no, it's weird. But the problem is like it's not a problem, but it's just like it's just it's me like assuming people a gender. It's like gender assumptions, Like when I see somebody who like shows up and I'm like, oh, that person's like a dude. I do it all the time. I think everyone's a dude unless it's obvious.
One of the reasons why I've actually been kind of like relieved that I spent the last 10 years out of Los Angeles is because the like influencer culture in public and people like making little videos of themselves in public and running up to people and asking questions in public to make video content. It's got to be like the worst thing that people ever have to deal with. There's probably cameras running constantly. People making little videos, posting all the time about strangers.
Yep.
And I'm just really glad that I don't have to live in a place where that's constantly going on.
Yeah, did you ever see those like influencer farmy things that they have like on like YouTube on Reddit all the time?
Yeah,
it's just like they're all like along like a dock or something, and there's like they have like little sections that are
stalls.
Their own. And
the worst thing is like it gives me such anxiety to see those videos where they just like walk up to a random person and like stick a camera in their face, like on the street interviews type thing.
Yeah.
Oh. It's like my worst nightmare is getting caught by one of those.
Oof.
And then like if you're rude because you just don't want to be fucking bothered in the middle of your day, then now you're the video.
Yeah, no. Well, there's so many of those. There's actually so many of those. I stop watching them if I see that happening. I'm not interested in watching people freak out on people who are like invading their privacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or like people at the hardware store whacking each other.
I'm also glad that I'm seeing a lot less of like those like people who do good deeds for the camera.
Oh yeah.
And they like give somebody like $101 bills.
No, like Justin Baldoni.
Yeah, Justin Baldoni is a good example of that. But you know what I mean?
Like,
they give you like $101 bills.
We're gonna send this taco truck that's been parked on the on the TV show lot, right? We're gonna send them to go feed the homeless, and we're gonna film the whole time and ask everybody their names and ask them to tell our story and exploit it for clicks. That was his whole thing.
It was indeed.
Guilty Angel sent you a message through your website.
Cheers. I'll get that. No worries.
Cosmic Urgency said he read a Bachman book titled Rage.
Oh, that sounds good.
Do you know that one?
No.
I think I read all the Bachman books, but I don't remember that one. That's a
I
Stephen
don't
King
think
book.
I know I didn't read all the Bachman. Well, I don't know that. Rage by Richard Bachman.
Are they still called
the first Richard Bachman book.
Are they still called Bachman books, or did they drop that?
I think it's like Richard Bachman,
Stephen
King. Now it's like the Bachman books, et cetera, et cetera. $100 on eBay.
$100 for a book.
There's a set called the Bachman books by Stephen King.
That's
it's $100 on eBay.
Read The Long Walk on. They won $100 for that. It's a mass market paperback.
6 years ago, somebody asked where to buy Rage. Get yourself a copy of the Bachman books. $100 on eBay.
Well, that's really cool that you read it, Cosmic Urgency. I guess it's very valuable.
I never got to read it. That bums me out. Now I want to read it so bad. Now you've just created an itch that I don't want to scratch. Oh, here's one. Rage by Richard Bachman on eBay for $8,000.
No.
Yes.
Stop it.
No, I'm fucking dead serious. It's sitting right here. Or $407 a month with Klarna.
You know, it's so weird because I have this vague memory of like...
Maybe I can pay monthly.
My mom used to drag me to the grocery store when I was a kid with her for her errands, and she would and there were always these like at the store there was always this like display of all the Stephen King books, and it was like a massive amount of like these really shiny covers with like that are like embossed, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember that there were Richard Bachman books there, and I didn't know at the time when I was like 8 years old that I could have just like bought all of them and then saved them all this time and sold
and made a bunch of money.
$5,000.
Have like bought a whole box because this is the mass market paperback for 1977.
It's probably all yellowed and like falling apart.
No,
like,
it's actually it's in really good condition. It's got a little marking at the bottom of the cover, but they want $8,000.
That's nuts.
I'm gonna apply for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna. They you can get a credit card here, and you can buy it, and then you can. I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna hold it. Somebody's touching with their hands and be like, "Don't touch it with your fucking hands." Put a glove on.
Oh my God, are you gonna read it?
Touch that. So the Bachman books, so you can get them for $100.
But it's probably like $8 on Kindle.
Let's see. The Bachman books. Yeah, on Kindle. Yeah.
Cosmic Urgency is correcting me that Philip Seymour Hoffman would have totally swooned. It would have worked him swooning over
for sure
a twink.
No, there's absolutely, absolutely 100%, no question. Especially a large penised one. Oh wait, that's not what I meant to say. Well, it's what I said. Especially after, if he's got if he's swinging.
You're gonna keep elaborating. I'm gonna do like a
from side to side.
When we edit this, I'm gonna do like a super cut of all of the times that you're talking about it.
A short film.
Cosmic Urgency said Angela doesn't watch P and it shows.
Angela,
you don't know what I do, okay?
Excuse me? I watch it all day. I'm an addict.
I wonder if I ruined it for myself though, because I used to. I was a manager of a erotic boutique, and there was a lot that was like
if I saw you there, I would never go in.
You wouldn't?
No, if I would no, because you're like somebody who I consider to be a beautiful woman, and then I'm gonna go buy porn. I would never go. I would never walk in the place. I would have walked right past.
I don't know that.
I've never actually been in one.
It wasn't really made
truthful.
for dudes. We had stuff for dudes, but it was like more like couples.
A chick shop? Oh well, couples. Still, I was still okay. So
you would have been like,
if I was with my wife, or so I'm with my wife, I'd be like, I'm not going in there.
It's funny because it was in Washington D.C. and George Stephanopoulos' wife used to go shopping, and he would wait outside in the car.
Really? Yeah, I'm with
because
George.
He's a celebrity. Like
me and George, I'd roll down the window, and go, yeah, what are you doing, bro? Hey, what's up, George? Yeah, no, I get it, dude. I don't know.
There was also
she's getting something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, she seemed very happy though. They seemed like they had a good thing going.
Yeah.
And then we also had this lady that would come in like full disguise, and like
see, that's me.
I don't know who she
was. With only cash.
But we were sure that she was like a senator's wife or something. Like
just in full disguise.
Just could not be seen.
Walk out with that's like the funniest scene ever is like somebody walking in complete disguise into like a sex shop and they just walk out with just loads of stuff. Just
and
loads
the doll
of stuff.
like over their shoulder.
A doll over their shoulder. Fantastic.
There was this box. I was obsessed with this because it was when they first started to come out. This was like 20 years ago or whatever. But they had like it was like the box and you open it up and it's just like a butt. But they started to make it out of this really
skin,
lifelike skin like silicone.
Smack it.
And so all of us did. It was a bunch of girls that worked at the shop, and all day long we would just like walk by the counter and just like slap it.
I'd be the guy mopping the place and just
yeah. Slap.
Just slap that ass, of course.
Because it jiggled perfectly.
All right, this is getting out of control.
$200.
We're getting out of control. Okay, we can't cross the line. But I remember in the 80s, like I was like 17, 18 years old or whatever it was. And I wanted to pick up I saw like a Dirty Love magazine. I used to call them Dirty Love magazines. And there was like a Dirty Love magazine that I was like, oh man, that one caught my eye or whatever. And I was in a gas station and I like went outside. I couldn't buy it. I went outside. I was pacing. I was like, what do I say? Do I go, give me that Dirty Love magazine? Like, what do I say? Give me that.
Yeah, dude, the clerks do not give a shit.
I was like, too self-conscious.
Okay, it's a transaction. Like, nobody cares.
It made me crazy, dude. I was like, I can't do it. I was like, anxiety. I didn't buy it. I didn't.
Oh, and then you denied yourself some happiness.
Well, I went and got a pizza, so that was all right.
What?
I went and got a pizza. I got some poutine. How about that? All right, I'm going to read the rage. Why did you bring it up? We went on a tangent and you didn't expound upon.
Cosmic Urgency said, Rage is the one Stephen King out of print and taken out of the Bachman books.
God damn it. So why'd you bring it up? To torture me? You brought it up to me, torture me.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Well, I'm going to find it. I'll steal it. I'll find it. I'm not going to pay $1,000 for it. That's for sure.
Mandy said they're called man on the street interviews, and I could never. It's the worst. I feel like you're allowed to just like punch somebody in the face if they put a microphone in yours. I feel like you're just going to be like, obviously I was going to be assaulted, officer.
Yeah.
It was self-defense.
Especially when they like ask severely invasive questions. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to get into them because they're invasive. But like if you're getting to somebody's private life, Isn't that how the Haktua girl became a thing?
Yes, because she was wasted and she had a really funny answer.
And everybody wants that opportunity, right? Apparently, she's kind of a dope chick. Like, I say chick because of what she did.
She's like a con artist or something.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
You're like, good for her.
Shape shift that baby. Come on. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of Rages books here for $3,000. 3,100. Thanks, Cosmic. I'm obsessed with a book I'll never own. Damn it. It's small, too. Oh, man. Do you have a copy of it? Will you send it to me? I'll send it back.
I'm trying to understand these comments. Guilty Angel.
Have you done YouTube lately? I mean, TikTok?
No, I'm going to head over there next.
TikTok, we're coming. We're coming. Don't give up on us. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Mandy wants to know if you have opinions about Cynthia Erivo hosting the the Tonys. I thought she was sensational. Hope she cleans up next year's Oscars for Wicked Part 2.
I didn't know that she that she did. That's exciting for her.
Yeah, she's an awesome performer.
She's an awesome human being, so far as I can tell. You never know. You never know if they got the bodies in the freezer, though. You never know. Me and Angela, for example, we don't have a freezer. But if we did, you'd be like, what's in it? And we'd be like, pie crust.
Jenna wants to know, who is Nabokov?
Oh.
And is their full name Vladimir Nabokov?
Vladimir Nabokov.
He's most famous for writing Lolita.
Yeah.
And it's Lolita's controversial, but he wrote it. Is basically like one of the really great examples of a book where the protagonist is kind of the villain. And so a lot of people are mistaking the writer for believing that this very controversial thing is a good thing, but it's not. He's writing him as like this bumbling idiot who's ruining his own life, Humbert.
Humbert?
Mm-hmm.
Love it. My favorite character name is from the Confederacy of Dunces, Ignatius.
That's a good one.
Ignatius. I'm normally not a fan of like writers who come up with names that annoy me and that aren't going to be in the world at all. Like, it sometimes bothers me. Like in this book, for example, that I'm reading, Toni Morris's Beloved, which is a beloved book, but her character is Sethe, her main character. So here's the thing. I know I'm fucking pronouncing it wrong when I'm reading the book at the beginning. I know it. I'm like, what is this? How do you say this? Is it seethe, sethi, seethy? What am I doing? What is this? I know I'm spelling it wrong. But the worst part about like knowing you're pronouncing it wrong and then you're in your mind while you're reading the book trying to pronounce it right is it's in dialogue by people who know her. So it just ruins the dialogue because like there's like a conversation going on.
And you have no idea how
and
it's said.
Everybody said her name differently in my head.
That's funny. Maya said on TikTok, guys, I watched Total Eclipse last night and I got flashed by Leo. And to be honest, it's not all that.
He's a grower.
Is he naked in that movie?
He is.
Does he do full frontal in Total Eclipse?
I believe there is a glimpse of it. Yeah.
I can't believe that he never mentioned it, like ever.
He's not John Holmes.
No. What I'm saying is like he in the press tour.
Oh yeah.
He was so like worried
about kissing,
about having kissing scenes, and the whole time he's full frontal. I had no idea. Jenna wants to know: did you ever meet Mark Wahlberg?
Yes.
Is he nice?
Sure.
Short answer.
Fuck that guy.
That's all we're gonna hear about it.
I don't have much to say about him, so fuck him. I don't like people who almost kill people.
Leo Edit said, in the book, you didn't go super into your final meeting with Scott Bloom. Can I ask what he said? If it's too personal, don't worry, of course.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Scott Bloom, I think I was doing more of the talking. I think I was like spending a lot of time going, how the fuck could you guys do this to us? I was literally saying to him, how could you guys do this to you? Do this to us? How could you treat friends the way you treated us? How could you think that we were doing something so bad that you would spend all these years hurting and resenting us? What did I do? And how could you think? I was kind of Toby Maguiring him. Like I was also
That's why I didn't say much.
I was also CrossFitting at the time. And so I think I had like, a little extra testosterone laying around, testosterone.
Your veins are bulging.
My veins were bulging, man. I was like, how could you think that? What was going through your fucking head that you could, and how could you spend any amount of time holding on to those thoughts? Like what actually happened?
Those are good questions because it's fucking absurd.
What actually happened that could cause you to be in a situation where I'm now just talking to you 2011 or 2010, whatever it was. It was 2010. It's 2010. What could I have done? I just want to know. Like, articulate it. It's complicated. Oh, fucking.
Evidently.
Yeah, well, so's not being your friend, buddy.
Yeah. Cosmic Urgency is not over how you're giving a book to Guilty Angel.
I'm going to pass out books for a little while every time.
This is really funny. So you were like, send me the book Rage by Richard Bachman. Cosmic Urgency said, now he's asking me for a book. The nerve.
I'll trade you.
I'll trade you.
We're going to do a little trade. You send me Rage, and let's for keeps.
Tradesies.
And I'll sell yours for $3,000, and you can sell mine for $24 if you wait. You got to sit on it for a while. Oh, you guys are hilarious. You know that? Listen, I'm trying to be nice and broke. It's so hard.
It's so much easier to be generous when you're not broke.
Have you tried to be nice and broke at the same time? It's fucking hard. You have to do it in increments. You have to be like, okay, this time I will.
You have to budget your niceness.
We sold the book on the website, so I was like, all right, I'll ship one more with it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. God. Now I got to talk in code.
I know. It's not like you have an accountant keeping everything straight. You could just lose money and nobody's going to blame you for it.
I'm so happy that Harvey Weinstein was convicted again. It really does please me to no end.
Yeah.
He got 23 years for the first one, but there were two. I think there were two other charges for which he was convicted, and that were retried in this trial. And he was just recently. So that did we talk about this already? It blew up in the jury room. We talked about that. The foreman would not return. So the judge called a mistrial on the case. He had asked for them to continue to deliberate. So when people were asking why were they getting
such
so when people were asking, let me finish this. When people were asking why there was like partial verdicts, is because they came back with, the judge basically said, "What have you got?" And they were like, "We have one verdict. We have two verdicts," because they had two verdicts actually. Yeah. They had a conviction and acquittal, and then they had what was a hung jury, and then he sent them back for the hung jury.
Okay, so now they're sent back to deliberate.
Nope. Now he called a hung on it because.
But now it's a mistrial.
Because it exploded into this fight that this.
I don't understand
foreman felt attacked by.
Why couldn't he just bring in an alternate juror to replace that guy?
I don't know. This what are they for?
Why does he get to just like?
Why does he get acquitted?
An entire trial.
I'm not acquitted, but why does he get? Yeah, why does he get to walk on that charge?
Because one juror decided not to show up.
Why does that victim's entire fucking second trial, by the way?
That's right.
It's not like these women didn't have to got through another damn trial after getting convicted.
So if he was like out sick, they don't have some sort of contingency for that? I don't understand.
I wonder why that one got acquitted. Do you know?
Well, I don't know. I wasn't following it.
Me neither. Just beyond clicking my heels to hear he's not getting out anytime.
Yeah, I'm glad. He doesn't deserve a vindication.
I don't even know what to think of the Diddy trial. I read it every day, and all I do is I think, I don't know what to say about this, because it's just so nasty and gnarly and kind of incomprehensible, and in many ways, just because like as far as like what they're charging to what they're proving.
I hope they're not screwing up their prosecution because they're charging specific. They have to prove elements to those crimes. And it seems like they're talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's a bad person. Yes, he should be put away in jail for those crimes. But that's not what this trial is about. And so I don't know why. Like, he's not being charged with arson, but they keep trying to prove arson. And I just don't understand what they're doing. And I hope they're not screwing up. Because the jury is going to be asked to deliberate on these specific crimes, not this other stuff.
Exactly, and they have to prove the crime. So it doesn't matter. Well, first of all, I'm surprised anything is being admitted. Obviously, there's things to character and so on and so forth. But again, I'm just a layman, and what can I do? Ryan and Blake, by the way, have already been seen in public and smiling. The fucking audacity! They're out there. Listen to this: Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, okay, out in New York City. Smiling.
No.
Yeah? Fucking smiling.
At a time like this.
Smiling. Them two.
When they have made a huge win in court.
Let it go.
And they're going to smile about it.
Let it go. They fucking stirred. I'm looking at a picture right now. Both of them at the same time. It's not even like one smiling because they're pissing the other one off.
So shameless. They're not even sad for Justin Baldoni that he doesn't get to falsely accuse them of things anymore.
Smiling, Angela. In public. In public.
The audacity.
Fucking happy. Hilarious. R. Kelly thinks he should be allowed out of jail by now.
He's like, guys, I think I did my time. I mean, let's be honest. Okay, I won't pee on anybody anymore.
Especially children.
You guys can let me out. Yeah, especially young girls.
Especially the children.
I learned my lesson, guys. What can I say? We're done here, right? Can you imagine? Why does he think he should be let out? It's just like he just like woke up one morning and was like, I don't want to eat that stuff anymore today. I'm gonna go home. Well,
this whole Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds thing about New York, it's fake, and that's what pisses everybody off about them fucking walking around and smiling in New York City is that it's fake because they're pushing a child. Did that joke fall? Did that land?
No, I don't know why we're talking about them and R. Kelly. You're bouncing around too much. I can't follow you.
I just thought of a joke and then I tried to land it. All right, listen. It failed. Let's go back to R. Kelly. Sorry, you're in jail. His lawyer thinks that black entertainers are under siege.
Okay.
And so that's why they're...
I mean, maybe.
Maybe. Well, no, they're not.
I'm not going to say that they aren't because maybe they are, but there's like, if a prosecutor can prove.
Well, are we hearing about anybody who's not like a dirtbag? Like everybody's going down. I mean, we just talked about Harvey Weinstein and
Danny Masterson. Like, was he?
Yeah, and Neil Gaiman, and which obviously that's not in headlines anymore, but predators are getting popped. Let's hope it continues.
Also, like, under siege is a really weird way to. It's just like a super callous thing to say when like these people are accused of like kidnapping crimes and trafficking crimes, and it's like, do you think any of their victims felt under siege maybe at any point?
Delicate said R. Kelly makes me think of Aaliyah, and that makes me sad. Me too.
Right.
Me too. That is the saddest. That was the saddest thing that came out of it. And I mean, obviously that I heard, because I'm sure it's just there's nothing but sadness there. It's just lives being, torn to pieces for what.
Guilty Angel says, I'm trying to do chores, but I can't ever since you said that Leo was well endowed. This is more exciting.
Well, look at me doing Leo favors. I'm sorry. Maybe those chores can, like, I don't know, maybe you can like a rabbit on a stick, a carrot on a stick. You can, never mind.
We'll edit that one out.
I'm sorry. I just report the facts. By the way, this is all just for entertainment purposes. And what else? What else is there? Jenna said Harvey is bad. I don't like him. Yeah, Harvey Weinstein's a terrible, horrible human being, and he is where he belongs and has belonged for a long time.
He lost so much weight, though.
Well, because he can't sit there because he's not eating foie gras, and he's not gorging on every fucking thing that
devouring the youth of every bright and shining actress that he ruins.
Souls are fattening.
Yeah. You're devouring the souls of your of your coworkers.
Hollywood souls are very fattening. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I'm missing, because I know there was some stuff that I wanted to cover that I cannot find for some reason. By the way, we were watching, today in the Karen Reed trial, they had, it was the lawyers, and they were preparing for closing, and so there's instructions, and there's a lot of them.
The jury wasn't in today. It was so they just had like a day where all the lawyers were talking to the judge about jury instructions. Yeah,
and there's like a lot of instructions, like it's crazy amount of instructions. It's amazing, and and they're going back and forth or whatever. In an interesting twist, by the way. So basically, there are lesser charges. So she's up for murder too, and then she's also up for lesser charges. They go all the way down to just basically drinking and driving, more or less. But the Commonwealth has asked for an all or nothing trial. They were ready to lay down and just be like, nah, dude, we're gonna 100%. We're gonna go for murder 2 or nothing, all or nothing. The defense has asked for the lesser charges to be included.
Yeah, I think
so. It's going to make deliberation more complicated, because the lesser charges also come with all these different qualifications in order to be able to charge her with any of the lesser charges. So when considering them, so the only way in which this trial deliberation moves quickly is if, for example, the jurors sit down and the foreman says, "We're going to take a vote right now on." Anyone here who thinks she is not guilty of all charges. And if all the hands go up, then it's a wrap.
Then they're done.
And they might do that because it might be like, they might be like, what's for lunch? And then figure out let's take this to lunch. Was our last lunch together.
Get a free lunch.
I'm going to miss you guys.
They haven't even been able to talk to each other
it's
until
like day 24 and they've been eating only rice.
Hi, Erica. Erica says, "Hi, I'm super late today," she says.
Oh, come on. You showed up is amazing. Thank you for coming.
One thing that I thought was interesting was a jury instruction that the defense was able to put in, and it is the missing witness instruction. And so what they've said in writing is they're like, there are very key witnesses that were very obviously missing from this trial. You did not hear from Trooper Proctor. You didn't hear from Brian Higgins, even though we spoke about them a lot and all the things that they were involved in. And
one of them was the lead investigator on the case, and that's why they got it.
So the jury instructions are explicitly that
because the prosecutor did not call those witnesses, it can be inferred that the prosecutor believed that their testimony would be detrimental to their case and not help their case.
The instructions also said that
bad for their case.
It informed them that they weren't not called because they were unavailable.
Right.
The jury instruction was like, these people were available and willing to be called.
Yes.
And we are letting you know that they were explicitly not called.
Excluded by the prosecution.
Yes.
And so it should be inferred that the prosecution did not put them up. The other thing that the Commonwealth didn't do, which was wild, is that they fought like hell for rebuttal.
Yes.
They fought like hell for a rebuttal. And
to have the last word.
And just to clarify what that is, they basically fought for and got what a lot of people thought was an unfair ruling by the judge, to be able to recall Wexler and bring him up in order to try and rebut the experts from ARCO and the medical examiner, whose name I always remember and then I forget. It comes right to me and then it gets yanked from the ether.
Oh, that's okay.
My diamond does not want me to know her name.
Okay, so this is a really great explanation. Betero law. Okay?
Yeah.
That's this guy. I forget his first name. Betero Law on Twitter. He said, people are claiming that Brennan didn't need his rebuttal case out of his position of strength.
Yeah, that's
and
hilarious.
And he was like, let me help you guys. Allow me to help by acting as whatever. He's going to explain.
Just read it. Go ahead.
Prosecutors, like any other lawyer, will always want the last word. Always. There's no bigger advantage in litigation than getting the last word. And the prosecution gets it. The chance to rebut what the other party says is a gift. If the prosecution possessed credible testing that successfully rebutted the ARCA witnesses and the dog wound evidence, as Brennan repeatedly claimed for weeks that he had, 100 out of 100 prosecutors would do it. Brennan aborted and allowed the defense to finish strong instead. Primacy and recency, folks. Huge advantages for the prosecution. That's in the juror's mind.
Yeah.
You prime them to know when something is like most important and also most recent, right?
Yeah.
Brennan abandoned this opportunity. If you think he did so because he felt he had enough and didn't want to piss off the jury, you need your head examined. Does he look like the kind of lawyer who cares or has any self-awareness about how his demeanor impacts the jury? He gave away his final word advantage because he knew his witnesses were going to get clobbered and or to save his own rear end by being implicated in misconduct related to the sketchiness around the x-rays and the hoodie. It's not that complicated.
See, because here's the thing, like the x-rays, he had his witness, Wexler, testify that there were no x-rays. He did not provide x-rays that show that John O'Keefe's arm and the rest of his body, apart from the back of his head, could not have been or come in contact with a motor vehicle going 24 miles an hour. Just couldn't happen. There was no damage. There was no bruising. There was no fractures or breaks. There was nothing. It was all superficial. A car going 24 miles an hour hitting your arm is not going to leave a scratch. It's going to break your arm or it's going to bruise it horribly.
Yeah.
And I know because I got hit by a car going that fast. And my bruising was extensive.
I'm hoping that the jury, at least somebody on the jury, can clarify this for the rest of them. That, like, yes, a person striking the back of a car can break the taillight, but not without taking damage. And yes, a person can be struck by a car without taking damage, but they wouldn't necessarily break the taillight. Like, you can't have both. Like,
exactly.
The car and the victim don't match. And that Karen Reed's car doesn't have a single dent on the bumper, which is made to dent, right? So that the rest of the car isn't as poorly impacted by the impact. That it doesn't have any other damage other than this completely busted, 2 layers busted out of the taillight. It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
And so I'm hoping that they're like, something's fishy. Something's fishy.
By the way, I'm going to figure out the schedule. I'm pretty sure it's going to be from between 1:30 and 2 to 2:30 and 3. I'm working out what it'll be, but I'm going to be doing live readings through probably till September. I'm going to do lives in the day. That's just me reading the book, and then I'm going to archive them and figure out what I'm going to do in terms of where I'm going to post them, because I'm not going to just let them sit there, because it's going to be eventually I imagine it'll be the whole book, but I'm going to read the book lives to try to promote the book during the day as another form of content creation. So there you go. So if you want to join me for that, stay posted, make sure you're followed and notifications and all that stuff, because if you want to hear me read my book, I'll do it. I'm not afraid. Now, hopefully we can get some people in and, and then I'm going to buy Rage for $8,000 and I'm going to read it out loud. If I was Stephen King and I saw that, I would release the book immediately for free.
Yeah, can he do that?
It's outrageous. Maybe he's like,
does he have the rights?
Egomaniacal, and he'd be like, he probably doesn't. No, he probably doesn't have the rights.
I wonder if he doesn't think it's very good. Maybe. I bet he feels pretty poorly about some of his work.
Did you like Rage Cosmic Urgency?
I can't remember it.
You read it, right? You said, Angela? Well, you read the Bachman
I read it,
books.
but I don't remember it, so it's just as good as if I didn't. But I read all of the Bachman books. I just
I wonder if I did too, because I read. Is it like so? That's with Thinner and all those? Because I read that. Is that the Bachman books?
No, I don't think Thinner was in that collection. The Bachman books was four books in a set. It wasn't, sorry, like in one binding.
Yeah, in one binding, yeah. Bachman books.
Well, it was just packaged up as the Bachman books is one.
Yeah, the Bachman books, yeah.
But I think there's more than just
Let's see, because if it's got, let me see. Bachman books has The Rage, The Lawn Walk, Road Work, and The Running Man. Nope, I did not read this.
Delicate wants to know, Dale, can you do your live readings on YouTube as well?
I'm going to, yeah, but I'm not going to let.
Are you simulcasting like you are now?
But I may let them. I may let them repeat for one day, and then I'll take them down. Like I may keep them up for 24 hours and then keep. But I don't want to leave my book fully read. On
you're not
YouTube.
going to publish them?
I'm going to publish them.
But just...
yeah, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with them. I think I haven't figured out exactly how I'm going to do everything quite yet, because I might end up doing like 3 days a week where I'm reading the same chapter, per week, so that like people who missed it, you know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't figured it out exactly. And then I'll have 3 takes, and then maybe I'll have a good take.
Cosmic Urgency has the scoop. This makes sense.
What's the scoop?
So Stephen King pulled it, or at least the publishers did.
Right.
Because it's about a school pew-pewer. And so he...
inadvertently made
Cosmic
it
Urgency
rare. And...
said, yes, I liked it, but it's edgelord.
Okay.
But yeah, that makes sense that Stephen King would be like, listen, I'm not contributing to this culture.
It wasn't me. I didn't contribute to this culture.
Yeah, right.
Like they're not going to.
I won't be blamed for this.
Right. I wasn't my. We are prophetic.
That makes sense.
We are at least slightly prophetic in our.
He's like, I don't need that shit in my career. Thanks.
Observations of society. Well, I do want to read it, even if it is that. But maybe I'll get my hands on it. Maybe it'll be at the book fair. We haven't gone to a book sale in a long time. I'm kind of craving it.
I know, me too, but we have so many books and I just want more, and I don't feel like it's a problem to just like be a book hoarder,
Yeah.
I feel like that's like kind of a flex to have like a bunch of books even if you don't read them all. And I really like buying books.
We can't afford it, but we house shop anyway. Well, Angela does.
Yes, I house shop all the time.
Even though we're not actually in the market. But
I'm manifesting.
This house you found, it's like every room has a library.
Yes. And I was thinking,
if we had a house like that, I would just buy every book.
Every book.
I would go to the fairs. I'd be like, how much for all of it? I got shelves, man. I got shelves. Load them up into the truck, boys.
That is kind of a fantasy. I mean, like maybe I'm outing myself as like too much of a Virgo, but I always look at those people who are like doing those like estate sales where they have like their grandfather had like a basement library or something, and they're all the surviving family members are like, we just need to get rid of all these books, like it's just we can't sell them one at a time, like we just make an offer. And I always fantasize about coming in with like backing up the truck like boop boop and just like dumping them all in and bringing them home and spending the rest of my life like sorting them.
Sorting them.
Yeah. It's like my dream.
We have a tradition when we buy books here, we read the first chapter to each other.
Yeah.
So every book we get.
It's the first paragraph.
First paragraph. And occasionally more than one, because sometimes the first paragraph is, he walked in and sat right down.
That's actually a really good opening line. I really like that tradition because the way that people open their books is so intriguing. Like,
it was very nerve-wracking.
Authors make really amazing choices, and then sometimes they make really bad ones where you're like, oh, that's dull.
Hey, you know what I should do is I should read for you guys the old opening. It's funny that you bring it up because like it is I think one of the more intimidating parts of writing is what it starts like. It's easy to start when you're drafting. You don't give a fuck. You're like, I see this. And then you're like, okay, I see this. And you write it down and that's it. And you just keep going because the idea of getting through the only way you can succeed as a writer, in my opinion, is to get to the end of the first draft. That's it. You can't succeed until you get to the end of a first draft. So the best thing to do is fucking take the rearview mirrors in and just go straight. Do not look back. And so writing the opening is relatively easy in the first draft because you're just not allowed to look back at the shit job you did in the first place. But when you go back to revise your book and you read that opening, you're just like, oh, no. What is interesting? What is possibly interesting?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I was able to learn fast was that it should involve a person. Whatever it is.
Oh, like not just like some long description.
It shouldn't be like the house was dark and dreary. Like it could be that.
Who is seeing the house that's dark and dreary? Who am I? Where am I? Am I just am I like a disembodied spirit? Like what is who is observing?
Right. You could start that with when he took the first step toward the door, and then maybe but you have to have, to me, a human being, or it's just got to involve. Doesn't have to be the main character. I start my book with a guy who I never even name. So it doesn't matter. I don't think necessarily, and I don't think I have an amazing opening.
You're there observing him, and that's what's crucial.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. You have to,
but it's nerve-wracking.
You have to be like situated in your perspective as the reader. So the author has to show you what you're looking out of, like you're in a little submarine of a person, and who's the person?
Oh, hang on. I got some people about this book I'm reading. I want to hear the reading. Yes, Dr. Susan. Okay, yeah. So just stay notified because I haven't worked out the details. I'll try to work them out by tomorrow, but I am going to start reading live it'll either be, I'm trying to work it out because I have.
Are you going to start on the weekend?
I have some, and it's only going to be Monday to Friday.
Well, here's the thing.
Because I'm going to actually do because I'm working toward teaching on Sundays.
Yeah, I know, but we have to leave the house for an appointment on Friday. So
I'm trying to work out my whole clock of what I'm going to do. I haven't figured out whether I'm going to do 3 days a week or 5 days a week. I'm working myself pretty thin already, but I really want to read the book live because first of all, I got really great feedback from most of you guys for doing it. And then I just got to promote the book. And so I want to do it twofold. I want to and this is especially, it's going to be on TikTok and on YouTube, of course, but for YouTube, I kind of know how to work the algorithm a little bit. And so I'm going to work the algorithm. And then if I have a live that's reading the book, I think that's going to just help. So anyway, that's what I'm going to try. But in sort of positive news about the book is starting to sell really well again, which is exciting.
That's fun.
Yeah. Because it was slow for a minute. And on that note, I was going to see if I could I just want to share with you guys because it's so fun. And you guys are on this journey with me, and I just like sharing my journey with you. So I want to share a little bit of this new review because I'm just so excited about it. Sometimes I'll get reviews, and I just think about them all damn day because they're just, they're everything you wanted to accomplish.
I don't think you should read reviews.
I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna read the whole review
on videos because you don't want to come across as if you're like farming them. I'm
not farming. I'm hanging out with 8 people. Farming reviews from 8 people. We have 135 ratings or 134 ratings. We are not starved. If anything, the one most exciting thing about the book for me in terms of its future is that we have an extremely high rating to reading ratio. You understand what I mean by that? Yeah. It's usually much lower. Like my ratings look like I sold way more books than I have. And that's because...
that's awesome. That means people are enthusiastic about it, bro.
It means they're compelled to write about it. But here's what I like about it because I'm only going to read the it's a very small review anyway. You know what? No, F everybody. I'm going to put it up for you guys. Check out this review, guys. This is just, some days you wake up and you get this review. You get a review like this and you're just like, holy crap, dude. This is So cool. And I'm just going to share it with you because you guys are my bros and you're on my journey. So transitioning, here it goes. Check out that review. I'll read it for TikTok. For TikTok, it's by user Gregory B, and it says it's a 5-star review, and it was on June 8th. I only just saw it the other day or today, and it says, "Finding your Phoenix, uplifting and soul-crushing journey to reach inspired dreams, written from the heart, expressed with passion for truth that refuses to die. Bravo." So I put it on a book cover.
Bravo.
I love that he said. I love that he said uplifting and soul crushing, because I think the goal I set for this book was that I wanted this book to be. I knew that it was going to be. I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't do that. I should transition before you see my hideous desktop. I knew this book was going to have uncomfortable stuff, man, and I knew that it was dark in some ways, and I also knew that it was a dude bitching about his past. You know. Like, there's a lot of shit you got to, like, put into a book and expect people to enjoy themselves. You know what I mean? It's like...
Stefan said bravo with an applause.
So, thank you, Stefan. So, like, so the hardest challenge I think I had was that I wanted to make... Like, I really wanted it to be inspiring. And so for him to say those words, uplifting and soul-crushing, because I knew that the soul-crushing was a part of my story. It's the saddest part of my story. And let's face it, it makes for good drama anyway, so... At least I got that, but the inspiring stuff, man, that's just uplifting. To be uplifting and soul crushing in the same thing. It's like, you know, it's a sweet and sour. I mean, it's hard to do, so I'm excited about it, and I wanted to share it with my friends. Pardon me. Sorry to cough in your ears.
Delicate says about your readings.
Yeah.
Try different times of the day if you do the same chapter multiple times a week.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's really delicate, bro. Honestly, dude. You're such a blessing.
She's got her finger on the pulse.
She's just a great person, man. We're just really lucky to have her around. Really, really, really lucky.
Cosmic Urgency wants to know if you're going to read The Shards by Bret Easton Ellis. Says, it's my favorite book.
I am. Do I have it?
No.
I am going to read it. I might have it. I don't have it.
We didn't get that one because it's one of his newer ones.
I think, yeah, I know which one it is. I just didn't know if it.
I don't know if it's even in paperback yet. Alyssa said, something weird that I just thought about is that after the initial people saying that Leo was part of Diddy and Epstein.
Yeah.
Did they say he was part of Epstein?
No.
I don't think I've heard his name be very much associated with them anymore.
Yeah. That's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, his publicists are very good at what they do.
Yeah, he is having his name removed. If you recall, there was this big rush. Well, there was this reporting around how somebody close to the action, the Diddy action, that there was millions of dollars being exchanged by these rich people who were unnamed for the tapes
to purchase
the masters and destroy the masters. So, yeah, I mean, I have literal evidence, nothing, you know, hypothetical whatsoever, but I have little evidence of Leonardo DiCaprio's publicists interfering with my press and skewing my press and...
No, we know that they can. I mean, we saw the conversations between Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties with their publicists and how they organize squashing negative stories all the time. You know, it's like, if it's nothing to the journalists, if the exchange with an entertainment journalist is that if you run a anti-Leo Diddy story, then you will never get to write about anything that Leonardo DiCaprio does. That's an easy choice for an entertainment journalist to
I agree.
Make, you know?
Absolutely.
So they're going to be cut off from the entire future of DiCaprio's whole career.
I'm gone.
Or they write
it's
this
just
one
like,
story
it's how we lost every relationship in Hollywood.
Right.
It's like me or Leo.
Right. I know.
I mean, literally, like I didn't even have proper fitting clothes at the time. Like the guy you see on this book is who I was. Those clothes aren't even mine. They're not even my clothes. They're clothes given to me because I had no clothes. That's not a joke. I mean, I was I was man. I was just a guy trying to make it.
You're such a vagabond.
Scrap. I was a vagabond. This happens more than once. People think, because they find out that I worked with Leonardo DiCaprio, and they just start to look at everything, like in my car. Like I can just see that, they're like, "You worked with Leo," and they're looking at my car, and then they're looking at my fucking holes in my shoes, and I'm like, yeah, dude.
There was that one guy
broke
locally.
People work with famous people too, huh?
That one guy locally who didn't believe you because he put it together. He was like, "Well, what the fuck are you doing here? There's no way you're telling the truth."
Dude, we were at a party and the topic came up or something, and somehow, I think it was even somebody else who mentioned it, maybe even your sister.
Yeah, because you don't mention it. Ever.
No, somebody brought it up and he was like, "You made a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio."
Yeah, right.
I'm standing at this fridge, I'm having a drink. He's like, "You made a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio." And I was like, "I did." And he was like, not, you just weren't not an extra, you were in the movie. I was like, "No, I made the movie. It was my movie." And he was like, "What are you doing here?"
He was like, "I do not believe you."
"What are you doing here? You made a movie with Leo. What are you doing here?"
You're
so
like,
a year
your guess
later,
is as good as mine, man.
So a year later, one of the professors at UGA, and he hooked up with me because he'd heard about me through whatever, this, that, and the other thing, and he puts up a screening of Don's Plum at UGA. Well, it was at a local theater, but by UGA, and this guy came.
Yeah.
And he was like, he stood up to ask a question. He was like, "I don't know if you remember me, man, but we were at a party and you were like, I made a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio." And I was like, "Bullshit. I just want you to know, I'm sorry. It was awesome, dude."
I believe you now.
I believe you now. And this was awesome. And it was like a whole year later. That was a pretty neat night. Actually, we might even have that on video.
I videoed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's my camera, so it might not be very good,
Yeah, you shoot
I don't know
lovely
how
camera.
clear it is or whatever.
Angela, you shoot a lovely camera. All right, do you want to get through our comments and see if
Jenna on TikTok is saying, what if it's been Leo's people that have suppressed your life instead of Leo himself? Like his people don't want to lose money off him, so they're suppressing you without him even knowing.
Oh no, it's Leo.
Well, I mean, it is possible that they don't bother him with most of the work that they do.
Oh, certainly they don't.
He's busy.
They don't bother him with any of it.
Suntanning.
Let me tell you that I'm a conversation that happens quickly. It's what do you want us to do about it? Just get rid of him. That's what I want you to do. I'm not there's no around the table meeting about Dale Wheatley. It comes up in a that fucker's open his mouth again, and they're like I guarantee you that with the book they had to have a conversation about suing me. What the ramifications are. It's such a difficult question.
I love that.
First, it's all true, right? So it's just that's the thing that really is trouble for them, is that it's just all true.
I thought from the very beginning, knowing, because I read all these depositions, I know that they are all involved in these stories, and I know that what Dale wrote about in his book actually happened because everybody is testifying to these things happening. So it's what could they even sue you for? And I'm just so excited to think about that conversation actually happened. And the lawyers were like, well, if it's true, you can't sue.
Even if it's not, do you know what's interesting about movie stars? Even if it's not true, they'd have a difficult time getting defamation. They would be able to get something like some injunctive relief. And
I feel like if that was the case, then they would pursue it.
For sure.
Try.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But because
they don't want discovery, dude. They don't want discovery.
No, it's true. It just puts you in a really
I want discovery
advantageous position because they ultimately have a lot more to lose reputationally than you do. This is the thing that people don't realize.
My discovery is so boring. They'd be like, "Can we see your text messages?" I'd be like, "Sure, bro. I sent 6 last year."
Oh yeah, and they're to me asking, "Is this what you wanted from the grocery store?"
Yeah, is this? And you're like, "No, it's the sensitive skin one.
It's the unscented soap. Do not bring home shit ever again." I just think it's really amazing that so they wanted to bury you, right? But by doing that, they created somebody who doesn't have as much to lose as them. They really gave you a huge advantage by taking away everything that was important to you with your...
I have nothing to lose.
I know. And they did that.
Absolutely.
And so they created a monster because now you don't have any reason not to fight. about it. Yeah. It's like, what are you gonna? They're gonna ruin your reputation.
I've also been stolen from for 30 years, so everybody's afraid of me because at the end, discovery is gonna look very favorable for me, no matter what happens, because we know I'm being stolen from. Yeah, we know that
you're the victim.
I'm the victim. This, no matter what. We know I'm being, at the very least, like even if taking U.S. distribution out of the picture. Forget about it for a second. We know I'm getting stolen from, and we know why wasn't the movie distributed in Italy. We know we know that a Leonardo DiCaprio film is worth money. We know that.
Yeah.
We know that a Leonardo DiCaprio film of any quality whatsoever is worth money. We know that. We fucking know that.
And so, what's the reason, right?
I knew this guy that I met through you at your coffee shop. This guy was a writer on a really big TV show. Sons of Anarchy, if you ever saw it, was a really good show. He wrote on that show, and he also wrote his debut feature film as a writer-director, which starred Amber Benson. And this was actually the conversation that led to Angela finding out that I'd worked with Leonardo DiCaprio, because Angela and I dating already. And then he said in this conversation, I worked with Amber Benson. I was like, no shit, I worked with Amber Benson. And then all of a sudden the conversation breaks out, and we're exchanging our stories about working with Amber in our feature films. But why I talk about this is because he did not have a theatrical release. His biggest star was Amber Benson. He had a movie that was not even well reviewed in terms of like extensive reviews or anything like that. He only had her recognition, her name recognition going. He was cashing checks for six figures every year, just from Hulu. With Amber Benson only as the biggest star in his movie.
Somebody needs to fucking pay.
Brother, sister, mother, father.
So you have to get like a forensic accountant, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Like I don't know. It's extensive because it's like it's a worldwide. I've never seen a check in 30 years. I've never seen a check for a Leonardo DiCaprio movie in 30 years. Not a fucking check, not one, except the one that came for the $180. Sweet. Why didn't I was so broke I had to cash it.
Alyssa said, if they sue you, I think you'd win this time with the book and all the depositions as evidence. You would 100% win unless they paid off the judge.
Yeah, well, there's that. I feel good about it. I do feel good about it. They can't feel good about it. There's no way they feel good about it because it's just like, you know what I want to show you guys before we go, since I want to show you some work I've been doing today. Let me get you guys' opinion on this. Here it is. See, Angela helped me with this on notes. This is going to be kind of like, you guys want to see some Canva work? Watch this.
You guys want to see some Canva work? That sounds like an immediate no.
Yeah, no. They might like this. Look at this. This is like a kind of a new book cover that has testimonies on it. Let's see. I'm soliciting opinions. What do you think of that? Here, let me see if I can show you guys on TikTok. I don't know if you can see that. That is this like work I've been doing. From the writer and producer of Dawn's Plum. What do you guys think of that? Any comments? You can tell me it sucked.
I'm gonna see.
Sucks. Or if you have a suggestion. But I changed the font. And yeah, it's kind of cool, I think.
Cosmic Urgency wants to know what's the Amber Benson movie. And
I can't remember the name of it.
Asking, have you guys seen SFW?
Yes, I've seen SFW a few times. Steven Dorff. I met Steven a bunch of times. Seemed like a really good dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I met him. We didn't hang out. It's not like we knew each other at all.
We don't have any...
He 100% doesn't remember me. What?
We don't have any input yet on the cover.
Isn't Toby in SFW? I think Toby's in SFW.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, I think Tobey Maguire's in SFW. Oh, look at it. Went off the thing. Here, let me switch back. Anyway, that's my little thing. Do you guys like it?
Stefan said, looks fire.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. Let me see. SFW. Tobey Maguire. I think he's in that. Oh, my God. I fucking hate you. I do. I actually hate somebody.
His image comes up.
Yeah, and it's a picture from him like the day I met him, except it doesn't have the scruff.
And it makes you
it's
react.
just like...
Oh, Delicate said those reviews should go on the back.
Well, yeah, it's true.
My perspective on the new design is that the reviews are just for when you're promoting your book online, but that you should not be publishing any books with those reviews on the cover.
I thought Toby was in it. That's not going to be the cover of a book.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? That's more like
it's just
looks like an advertisement kind of promo thing.
Yes, he just redid for promotion.
That's definitely not the book cover. If I was going to do the book cover, well, I did do a mock-up of what the book cover would look like if I did the book cover in a similar way, and this is what the book cover would look like, just as a book cover.
Cosmic Urgency said, I think it has too many quotes, giving me anxiety. Too much going on. Claustrophobic. Oh, Amber Benson is in SFW.
That's right.
I never saw that one.
I'll watch that with you. It's a good little movie, man. I watched it. I've seen it more than once. So that's what it looks like without the stuff going on. Now, granted, by the way, that this is at 43%. So this is the actual size of this. Well, it's 98%. So that's 98%. So this is what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks tall, right?
So that's the actual size.
Stefan said definitely without for the actual cover.
Oh, for sure for the cover. Do you like this better than the cover I have behind me now? Like the cover that's right here behind me now. Do you like it? You like it better than that cover?
Cosmic Urgency said, "Now it's too empty. Needs a quote or two."
See the trouble that it causes?
I know.
It's so hard, man.
Well, do you think that was helpful, Dale?
Yeah.
To get some input from people? Or do you think that just made it more confusing?
No, I'll keep working on it. Yeah, you're right. It's kind of, I do feel like there's a little something missing in there, right in there.
Yeah, also, using that empty space next to your head is really smart. So I wonder whether you should just replace the font on that.
And like just put this, take this and just slide it up there with a
I don't know. We'll work on it.
Anyway, there's my some of my process happening there live. What do you know? Canva's great, guys. If you haven't used it, I highly endorse it. It's actually a place where I found that it's like their tools and the way in which it's now a place where I get a creative flow going, and I really enjoy the time I spend on Canva. It's the first time I've ever been in a place where I have to like work on material, because like it's not fun to do a lot of the times. Here, I'll give you guys Stefan, especially check this out. This is a little sneak peek into some of the educational stuff that I'm working on. But here's like this picture I just took, with a selfie just to mock this up. But here's
Dale, can we not?
Here's that. What do you think of that? That's like the it's only going to take a minute, Angela. We're going to sign off here in a moment. Anyway, it's cool stuff, right? Working some shit. It's good times. That's too empty. It's so funny. All right, guys. Maybe he doesn't I don't know who we're talking about. Let me see. Look at Jenna's. Maybe he doesn't realize the extent of the damage he has done. I think that's a great, so we'll end on this. So Jenna says, maybe Leo doesn't realize the extent of the damage he has done. And this is my whole problem with all of them. They don't realize the extent of the shit that they do. They don't understand their power, so they end up crushing people with it. It's just like, you got to know how heavy you are. Do you know what I mean? You can't be 300 pounds and sit on something that, you'll smother it and not be aware of that. You got to know your weight. You got to know your strength. That's how the babies don't get hurt. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, I didn't know how strong I was is not an excuse for breaking a child's arm, is it? Right? So his power and the power and the effects of his power is his responsibility. It's not my responsibility. I can't help him be more careful with his power. But I can observe that there are many people, Tom Hanks is one that comes to mind immediately, but there are others, who had equal or even greater power than him at times in their lives, who did not cause the harm he caused. And maybe it's because they were aware of their power. Maybe because, there's a moment I still think about in this channel with we get like 10, 20 of us at a time here when we're cooking. And, Cosmic Urgency said he didn't feel good about watching the Pee Wee Herman documentary after Angela and I spoke about it. And I still have not shaken that out of my head because I'm like, well, I can't allow that to happen. Yeah. Because first of all, I want you guys to see that documentary. And secondly, it's like, well, I want to be careful about, it's like, I understand there's going to be consequences. Some things I'll say I can't necessarily predict will be or have a reaction that isn't necessarily something I want. But I have to be cognizant of my behavior and the things that I'm saying if I'm going to be in a situation where I'm talking to people and potentially trying to influence them to do something, I guess, for lack of a better term. Truth is, I wasn't necessarily trying to be influential in that moment, but I wasn't also trying. And so with that said, I didn't want to influence somebody not to see the movie, certainly.
Okay, but back to this topic about Leo, and maybe he's not aware of all he's done.
Yes.
I mean, we're just talking about like the basic process of like accountability, right? Like, that's right. How it always goes, is somebody isn't fully aware of the damage they caused.
Right.
And then they're informed that they caused a bunch of damage. And then if they're a person who's, got the dignity and maturity to hold themselves accountable, they try to fix it. Yeah. Or they at least acknowledge that they did harm. And then they, begin the process of whatever healing is required, right?
Yeah.
It's like somehow he's exempt from having any accountability whatsoever. And then we just assume that the reason why he's not taking accountability is because he's ignorant. Well, that's the beginning of the accountability process. Like, he should be informed then, and then he should be held to a standard that we all expect the rest of us to adhere to.
It isn't the first time I've heard that, where people were like, well, he probably just doesn't realize.
Okay, ignorance is cool. That's a great starting point. Now let's get started.
And the other thing is, I wrote an open letter in 2014. So clearly, and in that open letter, I said that the reason I'm writing the open letter is because in 2014, which was nearly 20 years after shooting, right, I was still feeling the ramifications of their attack on Don Spellman on our character.
He's not completely ignorant to the fact that he hurt you. He deliberately hurt you.
Yeah, no, he testifies to it.
Okay, so maybe he doesn't understand the extent to which he hurt you, but it's not like it's a foreign concept to him. Like those were deliberate moves. He knows exactly what he did. Maybe if you want to give him the grace to think that maybe he doesn't know the extent to which he harmed you, then but fine. But you're not supposed to just forgive them for stopping at that point, right?
No.
No. Why are they exempt from accountability? Just because
they're not.
They're not.
High saying, did he cancel Don Spellman before or after filming Titanic? And it was during, actually. It was during. He was actually on the day that everything all the shit hit the fan. He was on hiatus because they were actually doing the model rebuild, like they were building the ship for like whatever it was. But he had been shooting it at that point. In fact, when we had the big screaming match, he was like, "I'm in a $200 million movie. And this was because the budget had just blown through the roof, and everyone was like, "Oh boy, James Cameron's fucking sinking the studios." And he threw that shit up in our face. It was because here's the thing about those big.
It's just, it doesn't mean anything.
I know, but here's the thing about these giant movies. Like he was on 2 in a row, right? Because he was in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. And
like that, like Baz's set was like apparently. Well, you saw it in the movie. Imagine it in real life. It was just so huge. So he did these 2 back-to-back big movies. And it certainly affected him, in my view. In my view. I didn't fucking film The Vertical again. I got to hook that up. I got to get my text straight again. I got all kinds of troubles. It's 9:09. It might be time to say goodnight. You guys are amazing. I can't thank you enough for everything that you do and say. And we, as you know, love spending our evenings with you. We will be back again tomorrow. There is tomorrow closing arguments. Hopefully we'll have some interesting things to talk about. But if not, we'll find some interesting things to talk about shortly. Right, Angela?
We should freaking live stream it.
You want to live stream I'm down. Let's go, man.
Fire this watch us, like, snack.
You're sitting here watching us chew on apples. We'll crunch right into the mic. We were watching Emily D. Baker today, and it made me feel better about my life because she had like 50 issues. Her
poor thing.
Power went out.
Yeah, she just goes through it,
her
man.
mics went out. And I was like, see, it's not just me. She's got 800,000 followers. You guys are amazing. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. I feel stupid repeating it so much, but it's the only thing I can do. As a writer, I apparently am lost for words. I can't wait till tomorrow when we can hang out again. And yes, it's possible we might even streamline the Karen Reed closing arguments. We'll see how things go. We might also want to just lay around on our jammies and have our have our nice slow chewing, eye popping watching of the whole thing. But we'll see what happens. You guys are the best. We will see you tomorrow. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Angela.